Nathan Zagura.
Let's do it live on a Thursday. Are we all here?
Hello?
Oh, thank God.
Is this thing on?
Oh, thank God.
Yes.
Oh, thank God. That was precarious. Very precarious.
Bo, you're going to have to do it all. We're going to go to we're going to go work.
That's fine. The next level is next. We'll see you tomorrow here on the program.
I was going to say, after the Lord of the Flies experience we just had, I thought maybe it's complete chaos today. Everybody's running amok, just having their time.
Whoa, lightning bolts right outside the window.
There's a lot of lightning very close to us.
Paint the picture, if you would, of the great American resort town of Jacksonville.
You should hold your computer so you can see it.
As I look outside, and it's hard, though, because the light's outside.
Oh, look at the beach.
Outside, what I see...
Just beaches and palm trees.
A river.
Holy cow!
I see a river with a lot of bridges.
Unbelievable.
I see some
Are you at Club
buildings.
Med? My God, like is that a tiki bar? Is that a tiki bar I see down at the beach? Is that white sand beaches and crystal turquoise waters?
The bed I slept in last night.
No, those are white concrete roofs of abandoned buildings.
Gibby, you ended up at a bar last night?
Karaoke. I'm told.
I took the youngins. I lead them to water.
Who are you defining as youngins?
People don't know where to go.
Like Greg Newsom?
Jeez.
You took Greg Newsom to the bar? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
No.
And the great
No. We loaded in at the stadium.
Yeah.
We got done, and I am very. I take pride in this. I am very good at finding great spots to go hang out in.
Okay.
Whether it's a food place, whether it's an entertainment place.
Sure.
Sometimes they can
Found
coexist.
us a little place about 22. Yeah, they coexisted last night. 22 minutes from here, right on the beach.
It's raining sideways.
Oh,
it was literally raining. I'm glad. I'm glad the game is not right now.
Why? It won't affect you.
Glad that I will be out of the elements. That's right.
Perfectly.
We'd be in a weather delay.
We would be in some kind of a delay.
So, no, I found a spot.
Okay.
Nice.
There are a couple people that are big aficionados in our group of karaokeing, and there was a big contest last night.
Who first of all,
Dave Spano, hands down, brought the place down.
What is his go-to? Where's he go?
Gibbs says he doesn't even know the song.
The one song he sang, I had no idea what it was.
I think that feels impossible that you wouldn't know
out.
a song that somebody's singing karaoke. Like, it's usually very common.
That kills, right, that crushes.
If it crushes, everyone knows
The crowd a little different. No, the crowd a little different. It wasn't your, mainstream songs. There were some that did that, but then there was some obscure songs that I was like, who sings this?
All right, I just want to paint a picture really quickly. It looks like somebody you know the boats, the fire boats that shoot those massive hoses? It looks like there's a billion of them shooting their hoses at our hotel right now. It is not. I am glad I'm indoors. I'm not going anywhere.
Sad.
No, I didn't go anywhere last night. All I did was get on to the links, the virtual links with Drew Davidson as we hung out, played a little virtual golf last night.
I wanted you in the mix. Down. I thought you'd be, get a tee time. Get out there. Whack it around a little bit.
Like I just said, look what's going on out here.
The threat has been all day for this.
Yeah, but the virtual links were great. I stayed dry, and I came up with a big win. Drew's not happy about it. Took him to the cleaners, and he's been apparently practicing, getting some practice rounds in for a big rematch at some point.
What type of is this? Like some sort of an establishment that you hit the ball
2K21.
Into virtual golf. How is that game?
2K21.
Is that good?
Great. Yeah, it was fun. It was a blast. I was hitting bombs.
Who's on the cover of that?
Justin Thomas.
Justin Thomas. Is that a downward? Do I need to download that? And
it's a downloadable one. Yeah,
is it? With the kit. Now, what type of courses am I getting on that? And the download system.
A billion. And people can make their own courses. They're like course creators who make every course in the country.
So one of the things I used to really enjoy to do.
It's great.
Yeah, I didn't. There was one course I really hated on those fantasy courses on the last Tiger Woods game I played. It was the one where it was like in South America,
which one?
And you couldn't hold an approach shot ever. No approach shot would ever hold. It was like the something
like
dragon
jungle,
or something like that. Predator, that one. That sucked.
Oh man,
you couldn't hit. You couldn't hold it. You couldn't hold it. I mean, there's just no way.
Well, you had to put this backspin on it. But yes, it was.
What am I, hard a backspin? I understand. By the way, how about in that one when they first put the Augusta in and then they wouldn't let you put spin on anything?
Yeah, because you had to play it tour style the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
So no spin on everything, like everything just rolled how it rolled. No putting grid. You couldn't read a putt. It's like you had to have institutional knowledge of Augusta National. It was a joke. It was no fun at all.
Right. Yeah. No fun. Those games were great though. There was a while where I was pretty darn.
Love those.
That was pretty darn good. That was before the heyday though of actual esports. But they used to have tournaments and stuff. I'd won a couple tournaments. I was like top 10 in the rankings for a while.
Least surprising thing of all time. Everything you do, you're excellent at. Do you think that the that went away with the Tiger thing, right? Because when he got in trouble, then that game like evaporated. Rory did a couple, but then it kind of went away, right?
Then they made the Rory, which was still a solid game. It was fine.
Yeah.
And then now this 2K21, different maker. Obviously, although the other ones were all EA. But you go back.
This isn't
Tiger Woods
EA.
2004.
Wow.
No, it's a 2K.
Okay.
You go back to I mean, there's already there's like 6 inches of water on your teeny little balcony here already. I mean, this is insane. The amount of water that is coming down. I hope the field is covered.
Florida.
I'm sure that it is.
It's Florida.
Yeah. It's a flood is what it is right now. But yeah, Tiger Woods 2004, 2006, just phenomenal games.
Yeah, I love those.
Games.
Yeah, there's a lot of those that were always great. All the way through, it was so much fun. Love that. Love those. All right, so as is pretty much customary for our brand, after we got off the air yesterday, it became known that Deshaun Watson's going to play tomorrow. So that's pretty much how it rolls for us.
That's right.
He's going to start allegedly.
Yes.
I mean, honestly,
maybe things are changing though. I saw people having smoothies. Anything's in play right now.
Paint the picture of the smoothie situation before we have to do like the real news stuff. I want more fun.
I don't want to say too much. I don't want to incriminate anybody. I just know that
just paint the picture of what. Just give me like a little bit of an idea. No incrimination. Just there are hard and fast rules, and then this felt like first time out. Maybe some of those were being ignored. Is that fair?
No. I think it's a new.
Was there
a new era? In fact,
no.
I don't believe it was a breach.
Mr. Zagura got permission.
Yeah,
there was a permission granted.
Yeah.
And we had a window till 12:30.
Yep.
The bat signal went up.
And it was.
And
so this
it was
happened
like the scene in Caddyshack when the caddies took over the pool. Yeah. It was like that. It was just a Russian madhouse.
Get your stuff and get out.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question.
But some people, even with permission, I wasn't going near the smoothies. I mean, one of my favorite. I can't even tell. I don't know if I can tell the story.
Don't tell the story.
There's been a lot of run-ins with smoothies, so I wasn't even thinking about that. But some were so bold.
It's interesting because a smoothie in general life is very attainable, and on a price point standpoint is very manageable. I mean, you're not. This isn't filet and crab legs. Okay, it's a banana, it's a lob of peanut butter, it's an almond milk, and there's a protein powder.
I'm going to say this.
That's probably.
I almost took a picture of it. The number of items that you can put in the smoothies.
There's 1,000.
It's infinite.
There were 6 tables. There were 6 8-foot tables.
Yeah,
every kind of fruit you could imagine on the planet. Every kind of green.
I've never seen anything like that before.
If you wanted some avocado, there was
sure.
avocado.
But at its highest end, at its most luxurious, the smoothie is what at a cost item?
$10.
$5 at its cost. I'm talking about the amount it costs to make it.
Pure raw materials.
Raw materials, not profit margin. I'm talking just what it costs to make it. Yeah. At its most luxurious is a $5 item, I think. I think
you're right about that.
It's in that wheelhouse.
Does it go beyond from a raw material?
There's just no way on a raw material standpoint it does. So to that end, the protective nature of the smoothie is shocking because you're not getting a bottle of Pappy 20 is my point.
I wish we were.
You might need it after today.
If we did.
Be a whole lot cooler if you did.
Yeah. I mean, Bo, can you look at
oh, my God.
Like those buildings, I can't even see those buildings because it is rain. It looks like somebody is spraying a hose on look at this.
That is quite aggressive. Yeah. It's an aggressive play out of that rain.
It is a deluge.
I'll tell you what, it's a sun-kissed day here, boys. Sun-kissed.
That's what Miss Kay said.
Gorgeous.
It's beautiful here.
Just gorgeous. Miss Kay and I had lunch just a couple of minutes ago. So it's gorgeous. Yeah.
What a treat.
Fantastic day. Yep.
2 of my favorite people breaking bread.
Breaking some bread. That's all we did. Well, no bread.
Did you guys have any transformative turkey? Did you wait? Was I out of town for transformative turkey?
Yeah. You were supposed to come over last night. What the hell happened? I had it on the menu.
Yeah. Dang.
Miss Kay was playing hoops with the boys. jumping in the pool. I mean, where were you? Where were you at? I carved a turkey.
Jacksonville.
We poured some whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, pal.
Man.
Yeah, that's brutal when you get
Sounds like a real treat.
It really was. When you get the rain, like there's no win in that. Where are we doing anything today? Is our team doing anything? What are we doing?
I believe we're in the middle of a walkthrough.
So I think
right
they
now.
walk through and then the team building activity.
Ballroom?
Top secret team building.
Are we
activity.
ballroom for the walkthrough?
No, we were at the stadium.
They were.
They were.
I don't know what's happening now.
Does Jacksonville have an indoor now? Have to, right?
You would think they would have
Or
to.
do they
have
with the
a
rain?
facility
I mean,
that.
like Florida State's got an indoor. I would assume. I think every college down
Yeah.
there is an indoor. I would think they have an indoor. Just, I mean, there's no way you could do it. You couldn't.
Trotter's
do your days
texting me.
What's he
And
saying?
he's down here, and he's like, I feel like we're in the middle of a hurricane right now.
You're
Yeah,
not.
this is
It's
kind
just,
of crazy.
He's an Oklahoma boy. Like he's more comfortable with tornadoes. This is Florida in August. This is what happens.
It's a pretty wild one, though, I will say.
It'll be done.
This is a heck of a nice little storm.
Yeah.
What?
What'd you say?
We are on such a delay right now.
We are on a delay?
Yeah.
Sad. Well, listen, we're in different states. And the higher up, Gibbe's on the 18th floor out of 18 in the penthouse. And apparently the internet isn't as good this high up in the building. I'm down on 7 with the common folk, and he's up here in the high rent district, but his internet, I guess, is not.
You
as
guys
good.
are
No,
both
the internet's
in
working
Gibby's
fine.
room?
There's just a giant.
Yeah, right now.
Oh, the show is originating from my room.
Yeah, Gibbe's room, the room of Gibbe.
So
Jim
it's-
Donovan will join us in my room.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I want, with all those streams crossing, I'm very curious to see if we could pull this off without a hitch. I'm not optimistic.
The next level will be live from my room.
Gibbe's room.
The Kevin Stefanski show tonight will be live from my room.
Let me ask you a question.
Like that.
I say this a lot to my wife. Do you think we're putting the kids in the best position to succeed? I think that same question ought to be posed to you right now, Gibbe, with this room studio situation you have going on.
We've
Yeah.
done. How many times have we done this?
Yeah. This has been going on for years. You act like it's the first time it ever did. The trial of Pedro took place from a hotel room in Santa Clara.
That's not
And it was a
true.
great
I was
success.
right here next to you when we put Pedro on trial.
That is not true. I was in California.
No, you and I
No.
were right in here. Pedro was
No.
in studio when we
Pedro
put
was
Pedro
in
on
studio.
studio.
Oh,
on
that
trial.
in studio. Then we maybe we put him in trial, and he was on in San Francisco when I was in
Yeah,
San
he
Francisco.
was
No,
our
that was a
correspondent.
He was our
year-round.
correspondent.
That
sure.
was a preliminary hearing. The trial took
Yeah.
place here in
The
studio.
trial was. Yeah, you're right. No,
was
you're
in
right, you're right,
studio
you're right.
and was over in 17 seconds, quite frankly.
Well,
And I think you're generous with that.
Yeah. I mean, I was
It was
Lieutenant
just like,
Daniel
by the way-
Caffey. It was over quick.
we might need to have another trial of Prisco. We're already 1-0 against him. Did you see what he's been saying?
What'd he say?
That Davis Mills, don't laugh, but Davis Mills could end up as a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson for the Houston Texans.
He's your boy. I mean, Prisco's your boy. So you
Not
must
your
be
boy.
feeding
Don't
him
give
that
me your boy.
information.
What do you mean? I literally, figuratively, not literally, I figuratively decapitated him in that Ezekiel Elliott versus Nick Chubb.
We put him on
argument that we had.
trial. He didn't even.
We put
gave
him on
up
trial
so
and we
quick.
convicted him.
Did not even.
He
know.
didn't even want. He left the trial.
He
It
left.
was like,
He was done. There's
he
no
couldn't even
trial.
plead the fifth. He was like, I'm out.
I'm
Yeah.
out. That's good. That's all I need to
This
see.
year, I'm on vacation, Gibbs. I'm on vacation. I'm
Yeah.
unavailable. I'm on
Unavailable. Why would you come back?
vacation. We're
after that?
in his backyard. Come on
Does
up.
he live
We're
down
living
there?
rent free. I don't know what his purpose is. I'd love to have him on because I really don't know what his purpose is anymore. His purpose was to get Tony Baselli into the Hall of Fame, and he's done that.
Yeah.
He's succeeded.
Well, there you go.
No one. He might have had a better weekend than all of the enshrinees. with
His
him. I mean,
weekend
this-
is going
this had to be a.
his weekend is going to be like what our weekend's going to be like next year with the Hoff.
Yeah, joy.
By the way, I hope he gets in. He's supposed to get in the afternoon.
Trotter
The
said
Hoff's
he got
flying
delayed. He
in
didn't get
today?
till midnight last night.
Hoff's flying in today?
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
did
the
you
whole TV crew's en route.
did you ever get an answer from him?
Yes, I did.
Yesterday on the show, we said in a break glass moment where a left tackle, I don't even want to say, our current left tackle's name because I wish we love him and we don't, none of that. But in a situation where a left tackle was
I
injured,
don't know if I can actually say it. I don't know if I can actually
and the
give an
Cleveland Browns, well, you're smart. You went to private school. When in an instance where we would need a left tackle with 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, what would your process be to get ready? And then we asked this yesterday, and then he didn't get right back to us.
Yeah.
So you now have the answer.
answer. 403. He knows how it goes. He knows.
Oh,
he
after
knows
the show, get
timeline
the
for
answer
our
after
show.
the show.
403.
Yep.
Yeah, 403. He said Coors Light and a lot of eating of things.
Well, he should go Coors Heavy if he's going to go that. I mean, go Yellow Jackets. Why the light, Hoff?
The banquet.
The banquet.
Go all in if you're going. Go all in. Go all in, brother. All right.
I did tell him that there's Morton's in our hotel, and I said we shall feast tomorrow, and he got very excited about that.
Oh, that's where you guys are?
Something else.
I've been to that Morton's several times.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I spent
what else is out here, dude?
Nothing.
I don't
I spent
know
a
what else.
month. I spent a month one weekend covering the Super Bowl in Jacksonville.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Jack's Beach is nice.
Jack's Beach is great.
A fine place.
It's great.
Restaurants, bars, everything.
Livelihood.
The whole area last night was
energy.
very nice.
People bouncing off people. It's a win.
Who was in that Super Bowl?
The Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots.
T.O. This is T.O.
T.O. on a broken leg. Yeah.
Broken ankle. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Pats won. Yeah. That's what it was.
I'm worried that this building is not going to withstand whatever's going on here.
Don't worry. They're all built for it. You're fine. You probably don't even have any blustery.
I was going to say.
Is it blustery? Are there winds?
Oh, I think it's blustery.
Oh, it's blustery.
I would say.
I mean, the rain's literally going sideways.
But it's not a hurricane.
There's so much water on this. I can't even see clearly outside.
It's not even a no.
That's good.
It's not,
it's
a,
not
tropical
even a tropical
situation.
Storm.
No,
Listen,
it's
guy,
just a rainstorm.
Come on, he's a weather guy. He's a weatherman.
It's a rainstorm in August. That's all.
He says it's not it's not a hurricane. We're safe.
Then you're safe, pal. Hey, let me ask you
I
this.
don't know about all the lightning around us.
No, there's a lot of lightning.
There's a lot of lightning.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
we have
normal
a lot
too.
Of electronics here we're dealing with.
You're fine. Here, let me ask you this: Who is playing tomorrow? We know Watson is for now, and we'll get to that in a second. But do you know who is playing?
I think it'll be the majority of our starters on both sides of the ball, except for the people that you would say have proven to be all pros or megastars, and we don't need to see them.
Bubble wrap all them.
Yeah, like the bubble wrap guys. Like,
Bubble wrap.
You went through the names yesterday.
Amari.
Yeah, like
Amari, Chubb.
Yeah.
Like would you bubble wrap Antonio? Or if Watson's playing, maybe you want to protect him.
What's he need to prove?
No, I'm just to protect Watson. If Watson's going to go play, it's a pretty big investment in Watson.
I'd probably leave that up to Joel, honestly. I'd say, Joel, what do you want to do?
Okay. Miles, Jadeveon.
Yeah.
Newsome, Denzel.
Denzel isn't eligible.
Denzel's not eligible.
And then Newsome, we don't know what the deal is with Newsome because we haven't had any media availability, but we know he didn't finish practice on Tuesday. So I think if he's able to go, he will play. I think if there's any, you're going to err on the side of caution. Like Greg Newsome's good. We know that.
Yeah. When are you going to talk to Coach? Not that he'll give you anything on the record, but you have the coaches show tonight, right?
That's right.
So have you talked?
And I will speak to him.
You'll speak
at
to
an
him
appropriate
post haste.
I would imagine so. Well, we have
sometime between
5 hours and 40
and
minutes to go until the show. So in that period of time,
somewhere in that window, that will happen.
We'll chat.
Obviously, the news of it all was that Deshaun Watson is planning to start tomorrow. Okay, it's August 11th. You know, to me, do you think the NFL? Do you think that happens, or do you think we have a ruling by then? I mean, I held off as long as I could.
I think he's gonna play. I think he's gonna play. And I think what's interesting to me is just kind of reading how much it's kind of gone out of the story. Like if you are on Twitter, it is not really a top story other than Florio. Florio loves to talk about this, and yesterday he said that it was the Browns are making a chess move and daring the NFL to do something, which I don't think that's at all. The Browns are trying to just operate under the circumstances with which they're dealing with currently, and the knowns and the unknowns. The whole thing to me is just
it's absurd.
Nothing is, from an information standpoint, maybe there have been a few things that have been added, but the bulk of the information that they have known about has been since the beginning of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are late into 2022 after he's been traded. And he was traded, by the way, a while ago.
Yep.
He's been with the Browns for a while. So what's wild about it is if you actually think about the timelines, right? The timeline of when everything accelerated, and it wasn't just the Browns. There were 13 or so teams that wanted to go for Watson. He narrowed it down to 4 himself. he chooses the Browns. But all of that happened immediately following the grand juries in 2 different counties saying no.
Correct. Yeah.
So if the NFL didn't want this, they could have said, yes, we know that the grand jury said no, but this is still not happening.
Yeah.
The reality is his punishment should have come as a member of the Houston Texans. And then when he was free and clear, they should have been able to move him. That would have allowed them to get the right value for him. It would allow whoever traded for him to not take on any of the risk for things that happened not while he was a member of their organization.
It's stupefying.
The handling of it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yes.
So even if they should have done exactly what you just said. Even if they didn't do that, this timeline should have been done in April. There was no reason for this thing to play out all summer. There's no reason for it to be August 11th and to still be in limbo on this. None. You appointed the guy, a week ago today? They appointed the guy, or was it a week ago tomorrow? Like, it's a line item appointee. Like,
a week ago tomorrow.
He's working for the league to appeal what the league wants appealed. So whatever they want it to be at this point, just make it so. And then everyone can move on. Like, there's not another card here to be played, it doesn't feel like to me.
There's some, again, this is just reckless speculation, and not mine. These are things that I've read, was the league doesn't want him to even participate in this preseason game. So they're going to wait until just before it so that there isn't time to get a temporary restraining order that would allow him to play, which
wouldn't that make it even more of a
I would
circus?
hope that's not. I would hope that that's not true, and I don't think that is true. But I also don't know what's taking so long. If he's really, the only thing that I would say that could potentially be a positive would be that he is actually doing this judiciously and reasonably in terms of he's not just rubber stamping. If it was a rubber stamp, I feel like it would have happened on Monday. Not to say it won't end up being a rubber stamp, and you got to give the cover that you're trying, the things that I'm about to say, that I read everything and I went through this all myself. And by the way, I completely disagree with a federal judge who's been doing this for, decades. And here's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think it's more likely the latter. That's what it feels like to me. I mean, that's just where we are. But I don't know.
I wonder if Sue Robinson will ever say anything.
I wonder if she'll ever do another one of these.
I'm curious.
Do you think she'll ever do another one of these?
She?
What would be the point? What a waste of my time.
Yeah.
I mean, she took all that time to do it, and then the NFL said, "Okay, we're going to take the parts we like, but not the parts we don't. We'll just pay attention."
You actually don't get to have the final say, right?
No.
You're not. Yeah, you're qualified. Some of the things you said we think are really good, but
we'll take those.
The other stuff,
that part we're going to take.
We'll take. Yeah, we're going to run with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, going to be fascinating.
Nobody at all is in any way saying that there should not be a punishment, that there were not transgressions. It's just they've been weighed, and a decision was handed down that I think ultimately, at the end of the day, everybody could live with. And it feels like there is a push to make it something that punishes one organization substantially for trading for a player that they were allowed to trade for and other teams in the NFL were allowed to trade for. That's the thing that's hard about this. And you took on, the Browns took the risk on. They took on.
So did 13 other teams would have been willing to.
If the NFL knew that this is the path that it was going to go down, this should have all happened while he was a Houston Texan. Should not been not allowed to be traded.
Correct.
Until it was all settled. All this happened I say it again and again, all this happened while he was a Texan. There are lawsuits that suggest that the Texans were at least implicated in some level to allowing this to happen, and that they're not punished in any way, shape, or form. And, in fact, they're going to receive draft picks from a team that got Deshaun Watson, who are not going to have his services, so they're likely to be better draft picks than they would have been had that team had Deshaun Watson. It just seems that's the most stupefying thing to me, is that all of this happened while he was Texan, and they're going to be scot-free. And right now, here we are about to have our first preseason game in 2 days, and we're still talking about this with uncertainty around it. Tomorrow. It's Thursday, as I look out at this deluge. And maybe these are the tears that are coming down from the uncertainty. I don't know.
Well done out of you. Yeah, it is absolutely crazy to think that you're in this spot. It really is. Reminder that the debut of the Kevin Stefanski Show comes your way tonight at 7 on the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns radio network. Coach will join Harrison Bryant. Nathan and Gerard on the program tonight. You have that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. We will go around the league. We have preseason games tonight, which is very, very exciting.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little bit. Get you some position battles to watch as well. The Voice will join us in the second hour of the program. We'll do a little mailbag in the second hour as well. Preseason game tomorrow, kids. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Rumpke Waste Recycling, family owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, will be part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. Did you guys see this story of the beagles, the beagle breeder in Virginia? There's like 4,000 beagles they're trying to find a home for around the country. Did you guys see this story today?
No.
So they're in Humane Society's trying to find rescues. They're trying to get it sorted out, and we've long talked about getting a dog, and we're getting to the point where it feels like it'd be close. So I text my wife and I said, I go, what about this? Like, this seems perfect. Like, a little smaller, a little bit of energy, chase around Bootsy, chase around Not Black Cobra, Beamsy. That feels like a win.
How's that going, by the way? I was just going to ask you.
He's not pleased about it, which makes me all the more
great.
happier. It's so great.
Neither was Not Pedro.
Yeah. NBC
really
for short. I mean, I just think it's wonderful. So anyway, I text her. I'm like, what about this? So she goes, oh, they're adorable. She goes, but we don't know anything about their parents. I text her back. I said, honey, it's a dog. We're not adopting a human. Like, what difference does it make? Well, it's going to be raised the same.
Thing.
It's just It's just a dog. It's just a dog. That's it. Like, what are we going to learn from its parents? They're going to teach us what type of dog it's going to be. Nothing. It's just a dog. We'll sort it out. What do I need to do, by the way, before I get a puppy?
What do you need to do?
Yeah, what do I need? I got to get what do I need? A crate? I got to have
You need a
crate.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little crate. You need probably some wee pads to help with initial training around the house, and you're gonna have to teach them to, you gotta get them outside.
No, don't do.
Well, hold on a second.
Don't do the pads.
Hold on a second.
Get your butt outside.
No, of course, but it's good to just have them, and you get them near the door. That gets them over to the door. Yeah, that's.
You don't want them relying on that.
You don't want them relying on it, but you'd rather have that than an accident. Nonetheless, where are we at now we're talking dogs seriously.
Yeah.
Have you unveiled your plan on everybody that this dog's never allowed into the home?
No, that's not what I said. I did not say the dog is never allowed into its home. It can come in on cold nights. It can be in really hot parts of the day. But it will live its life outside. It will live its life outside.
Okay. Yeah, we're already coming back towards more of
normalcy
here.
Can't
but
wait
that was also
dog's in bed with you and your wife.
Oh, there's zero chance of that. It was also possible. That was also when the conversation was around a much bigger dog. Like this would be.
Sure.
This is a more manageable.
Yeah. Reasonable dog.
Yeah,
it's like we always say to Asa every night, can't sleep here. As soon as she gets her bedtime treat, she runs straight to our bed. And
nope.
Can't sleep here. Oh, no. And we go, oh, no. And then she tries to hide in the covers. Oh, Asa's so sad. And then we take her out.
Then so you have a little doggy bed for her there? Oh, she goes into the cage.
Yeah, she's got a bed. She's in, and she never liked the small crates. Some dogs do, but she is totally happy, and we have a cage that would be suitable for a Great Dane. I mean, it is massive, and she's very happy in there. She's got her little bed.
Okay.
So I put her in, and then she stands there, and she wants me to scratch her back, and then I pat her on the tush 3 times, and then she goes right into her bed. Couldn't be happier till the next morning.
That's fantastic.
That's how it goes every day.
We have
creatures
blankets.
of habit.
My wife, we cover our dogs. They sleep under blankets. They have their own pillows.
She has old T-shirts around her bed. She has old T-shirts around her bed that she likes.
The one piece of advice my wife likes to say is, let the dog cry all night.
Oh,
do not. The dog will cry. Let the dog cry.
Well, we did that with the boys.
Them.
We were able to break them when they were boys. Like, they got to cry it out. Sorry, fellas.
Yeah. So if you can do it with a child, it's no problem with a dog.
Yeah,
now,
I won't have a problem
my buddy Trimble, tell Bo beagles cannot be trained to not run away. Bad choice for dogs.
Well,
especially for an outside living dog.
Wait a second. The idea is that you can't train him to not run away.
That feels like
that seems like a pretty big problem.
To not run away.
Feels like that'd be a problem with the breed. I mean, I know they're hunters. I had a neighbor who had a beagle when I was a kid. His name was Banjo, and I will say that when he was on the trail of something, you couldn't call him off it.
Yeah,
that is true. It was tough of him
and guess what? There's going to be scents galore out in the
in the Ponderosa. We're going to have all sorts of room for him to frolic. So, all right, well, we'll see. I'm going to have to get some fencing up for sure. Fencing small enough that okay.
Yeah, I'm told beagles will go right through.
How's that going to go?
Electric fence.
Based on how every other project's gone.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think maybe the electric fence is probably the best idea for you.
I'm sure that's
a little underground. Invisible fence?
Yeah, a little visible
we have
fence.
That.
Those will be cheap. I'm sure that'll be $75,000. Let me ask you guys this.
No, it's not.
Did you guys see
and then when your people run it over with a mower, or like the wire magically appears?
Yeah. Can't wait.
Yeah, then you got to replace the whole thing.
Hey, did you guys see this? Did you guys see this Tom Brady story out of Bucks camp today?
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
He's taking personal leave from the team till after August the 20th, which would be next Saturday. He's returning after that game, and Todd Bowles is going to speak later today.
No, he spoke already. He said it was planned.
Oh, he did speak.
He said it was planned. They knew about it. They've known about it since before camp.
Okay.
And that Brady thought it was important to be here at the beginning, but then he really didn't elaborate on what it could be, which, of course, only adds to the curiosity of that's strange, right? And then anytime you hear personal reasons, then you wonder, well, what the heck's that all about? But he's out for a couple of weeks in the middle of camp. I can't recall one of those previously, unless there's somebody I can't remember.
How is that? I mean, is there a problem?
Clearly, I just wonder, do you think that there's a chance? I mean, I don't think he's spoken since the Dolphin stuff. Has he been on a mic since the Dolphin stuff?
No, because he'd have to have been asked about it, right?
Right, and I feel like we would have got wind of it if he was.
Yeah.
Gibby, I'm on a Zoom with you guys on my phone so I can see you. So when you send me a text, I can't.
I'm not telling you to look right now. I would have waved my phone in the air. I would have been like, hey, you got to go, you got to go, you got to go. Talking about lightning.
What in the world are you
Keep watching. Gibby.
Keep watching.
All right. I mean, we're in the middle of a segment. We're talking about serious issues, and you're sending me
we're in the middle of a program here. We're trying to do a show.
Well, gratuitous lightning.
This would be understandable if you were one of the people who didn't realize that Browns Daily happened 1 to 3 every day, but you're actively participating in the show and sending us fun viral videos.
I think it's possible, to be fair,
while we're on air,
that the three of us and Stevie are the only people that are aware. You know?
Esteban's
boy, that is correct.
Look at the focus on Esteban.
Oh, this is a pretty good
every word.
Mary Kay Cabot with an interesting report here, reporting the Browns will consider acquiring Jimmy Garoppolo if Deshaun Watson's 6-game suspension increases. So there you go. According to Mary Kay, reporting. This is where we're at, boys. That's what I mean. This stuff should have been done. This stuff could have been done in May, man.
It should have been done. And listen, let me say this. That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. The fact is, if it's 12, if it is a full season, and by the way, that would not be a comment on this team's faith or lack thereof in Jacoby Brissett. They love Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett was the guy that the second they made the trade for Deshaun Watson that they wanted to be the backup quarterback. 6 games is a very different thing than an entire season. And now Jacoby Brissett has been an excellent quarterback at times on not great teams. I thought he played very well in Indianapolis. When you look at 31 touchdowns, 13 picks, you say drop that into a Browns situation, that's going to be very good. But Garoppolo is a guy that's taken a team in his last 2 full seasons to the NFC Championship and to the Super Bowl. This is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, and I'm not here to say you can't get that done with Jacoby Brissett. The fact would be, if Watson is gone for that or a long, long time, you need another quarterback here.
Yes.
We're going to see Dobbs, we're going to see Rosen, but those are guys who have been third quarterbacks in their careers. They have not been the number 2 quarterback. And I think that is having somebody, Brissett is probably one of the best backups in the league. And so you would have to explore that because you've got Clowney's on a 1-year deal. Another year that goes by of Chubb and of Ward and of Garrett and all.
Yeah.
You have to try the best you can to win this year with the hand that you're dealt. And that's one of the things that to me that's so unfair about this is if that's going to be the hand the NFL is going to drop the hammer that significantly, do it already so that this team has an opportunity to prepare. We're playing a football game. Today is what? The 11th?
Yep.
We're playing a football game September 11th, if I'm not mistaken, in Carolina. So give the Browns the benefit. They traded for a guy that you as the NFL said could be traded for. And many other teams in the NFL wanted that opportunity.
Yeah.
So give us at least, if you're going to make this decision, just make it. Just make the decision.
Make it so we can move on and figure.
Yes.
We're at the point now where there are no more cards to be dealt. Like this is it. So just put the cards on the table and let's see what we have, and we'll move off of it. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to it. First week of the preseason action kicks in tonight. Giants at Patriots, that's at 7, followed by also the Titans and Ravens tonight at 7:30. Most of the Patriots starters will not play tonight against the Giants, while the Giants plan for most starters to play, according to head coach Brian Dable. Isn't it interesting how so many coaches have different ways of viewing the preseason? So drastically different.
Yes. Preseason, practice, all of it.
All of it.
And there's no right answer or wrong answer. One comes with more risk that affects potential health, and the other comes with risk of we're not ready to go when the games do count. It's a difficult balance, and it's one that I would be terrified to actually be responsible for making that decision because of the fact that there are negatives to everything, and the positives feel very like we survived is the positive.
Yeah, and I think that the you can easily form an argument either way. either way, you can make arguments for it, but it's so drastically different now what we're seeing in the league. The Ravens, of course, playing tonight. They're trying to win their 21st consecutive preseason win. Will not start most of their starters, according to head coach John Harbaugh. Nothing official suggested by the Titans. The one thing about the Ravens, though, even when they don't play most of their starters, when they play their twos, they go for the jugular. Like they're aware of this.
Yes,
they're well aware of their record here. So. That one will be bear some watching as well tonight if you're going to take in some preseason football at 7 and at 7:30. Also, Patriots running back James White announces his retirement after 8 seasons there. All right, coming up next, we'll get you set some position battles to watch for. Oh, you can do whatever you'd like.
Just really quickly.
Yeah.
8 seasons? James White felt to me like the guy who was in college for like 12 years. You're like, that guy is still in college? I mean, I feel like he's been on the Patriots for 2 decades. And that's just how it feels to me.
Is he Wisconsin? Is he a Wisconsin kid?
No.
James White?
Yes, Wisconsin kid.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. And he is the only person, I believe, I have this right, to score a touchdown in overtime of a Super Bowl.
Okay.
He scored it in the one where they beat the Falcons.
Oh, he scored that one?
Yeah. Like near the goal line, ran over like 4 different guys.
I forgot that went to overtime.
Stevie says yes.
Stevie's on it. Must be true. Yeah. I guess I forgot that game
51,
went
is
to
that
overtime.
what you're saying? 51? Are you giving me some Roman numerals?
Yeah,
Esteban.
He's got it. Esteban.
Stella's finding his groove.
That's right. Little juice,
Look
little
at
spring
little
in the
tip
step.
Of the visor. Love
That's
it.
good. Good to see.
Little tip of the visor.
Dialed in.
From
very,
the
very
Jason
dialed
Tarver
in.
collection that he's got that visor there.
Stevie has. I tell you one thing. He's
Flash
done.
my credit card.
He's done. You're picking up the charges on this. Is that what you're trying to tell us? Out of your own goodwill, those aren't being expensed back.
Ask young Connor.
Hold on a second. You're buying him. Are you going to adopt him?
I mean,
Stevie, are you up for adoption? I mean, Gibby's buying you
did
gifts.
Emancipate yourself. Man.
Holy cow! That's breaking
That's more
news.
gifts than we've ever gotten. It's more gifts than we've gotten.
Well, fact.
And you're handing out gifts. I've handed out gifts.
Oh, wait a minute. What are you talking?
I mean, just
what are you two
Gibby
talking
just buying
about?
gifts for
Gibby
people.
did give a gift. Listen, Gibby likes to give hats to the youth. He gave Bryce a lovely hat. That was very nice of you, Gibby. Meant a lot to me. Thank you.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Esteban's got a hat.
Did Nana have? Does Nana wear that hat now?
Oh,
Oh
Nana
my
stole
God.
my bucket.
I forgot
My
to
mom
get the
steals
hat
every
to
hat
Nana.
that I get with the Browns. Nana, every single hat.
Nana's a
And
hat
she knows
wearer?
that she pretends like she does it. When she takes her walks, she likes to have a bucket hat to keep the sun out. She's got my playoff beanie because when she wore it one time, she needed a beanie one day in a snowstorm, and she was like, "Oh, this is great! I got a lot of comic. Can I have?" Yeah, you can have that one.
Have it too.
I mean, she has a better collection of Browns hats than I'd argue anybody I know.
She deserves it.
She does.
She deserves all of it.
Official
Wonderful.
Nana of the program.
Official
That's
Nana
right.
of the program. All right, so we'll get
She
into
was so happy to see Gibby. It was like a real treat for her.
I'll make sure I bring the Congo hat to see if she can get the stain out of it. I got to remember. I had it and then I forgot it when I meant to bring it.
She's
in
ready.
yesterday. She's ready. All right. We will get through some position battles to watch for tomorrow. A little tricky because you're trying to figure out who's playing and who's not, but there are a couple of things to keep an eye on here. We will get into that. Maybe get a little insight into what we could see at receiver tomorrow. Try to shed a little bit of light on that. Jim Donovan going to join us in about 20 minutes from now. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And the Bath Authority gives you that bathroom of your dreams. You can transform your current bathroom into a custom bath for a spa-like experience. Let the Bath Authority make it a reality for you at a fraction of the cost of the competitors. The Bath Authority is our area's premier bath and shower remodeler, expert factory-trained installers. Give them a call now. You get $500 off your next custom bath or shower remodel. That number is 216-220-8399, or go to thebathauthority.com. It's where affordability meets quality. The largest selection of bath projects. They're all made right here in America, and you can change your bathroom from outdated to outstanding in about a day. Superior products and expert installers at the Bath Authority, 216-220-8399. $500 off. Tell them Bo sent you. All right. From a position battle standpoint, there aren't a lot here. I guess from a starter standpoint, it's pretty well known. I think probably what you're looking at, what I will be looking at, and I'm curious, my first eyes will be on these mostly unknown receivers that I'm going to be seeing on Friday night, especially if they're catching passes from Deshaun Watson. That to me, whether that's something we see this year eventually or not, who knows? But that to me is something you want to talk about. Can you perform when you have the best circumstances? Not going to get a whole lot better than that Friday for the receivers who are going to be playing.
No, and I'm curious to see how that goes. Is it is it Donovan Peoples-Jones, Anthony Schwartz, and David Bell initially with him? Bell and Schwartz really just kind of getting back into practice, and I would think this is an important game for Anthony Schwartz. I don't know, coming off the injury and Bell, how many reps they actually will get, but I think they'd be very valuable reps. And then beyond that, you mentioned a guy like Mike Harley Jr., who we talked about it many times, all-time leading receiver in the history of the U, 182 catches, breaking Reggie Wayne's record. He is the only one through my notes that in team period settings or in 7-on-7 settings has caught touchdown passes from all of the quarterbacks, and he did it just over the weekend, one from Watson, and he's got multiple from a couple of the guys, Brissett, Dobbs, and Rosen. But he just keeps making plays. Does that continue against the Jags? Dalen Baldwin, he's impressed Kevin Stefanski. They picked him up right off the street. Was it Michigan? Had 250 yards receiving, 15 yards a catch. Nothing massive, but he's 6'2". He can run, and he's come right off the streets, been assignment sound, knows where he's supposed to be, and he's getting open and catching the ball. Does that continue? Because in terms of size, he's got some good size. He looks like an NFL receiver. Javon Wims has been an NFL receiver. He's 6'4", 33 career games, 7 starts with the Bears. He's got over 200 yards, a couple of touchdowns in the league. Can he show up and give you something? Because Jakeem Grant being out, I think opens up a spot in that room. And I think obviously Felton, because of his abilities as a returner, it feels much more like a lock that Demetric Felton's going to make this football team. But you want to see what he does as a slot receiver. You need some of that production from him. He's another guy we'll be watching. But then that last spot, if Mike Woods is healthy, you'd be like, Mike Woods is that guy.
Yeah.
He was so impressive, but he's
really
not going to play. And we don't know.
Well, you said
we don't
Schwartz
know when he's
right out of the
play
gates.
Again.
What's he had? 2 practices, 2 or 3.
And he had one. He had the first day
was
rough on
was that
Sunday.
Yeah, right. So
Sunday, and then on Tuesday he actually had a nice day and ran a couple of nice routes, caught a couple of nice balls. But I think he's so important, and if he is not the answer right now, and look, he hasn't played a ton of football. He's only recently become a full-time football guy. Right. He was at Auburn, which is not a school that was, spreading you out and asking their receivers to run around and throwing the ball 50 times a game. But he, I think, is important because of his speed and what that opens up for the rest of the team and the rest of this offense. And if he's ready, great. If he's not, that's when I think you have to look at bringing somebody else into that room.
Yeah, I think so, even with, as I've been thinking for a while, that you still need to add somebody else to that mix. Beyond that, I go to MJ Emerson, like that, those type of guys. My rookies this year. Let me see what they do.
Yeah, MJ Emerson, who has had a phenomenal camp. The coaches love him. They are excited to see him compete. And I go back to the Jacksonville game last year, and Greg Newsome started off working against Marvin Jones, who's one of the, just in terms of consistency, I think it's 8 straight seasons over 500 yards receiving, was a Jags leading receiver, but a veteran. And, there was one play that was a contested one that Jones came down with, but Greg Newsome was with him all game long and got a lot of confidence out of that game. And now you're going to have an opportunity for MJ Emerson to get something similar. A.J. Green on the other side, who we've seen with the Browns before and played great last year, led the team in terms of quarterback rating against. It was in the 20s. I mean, I thought you could go do nothing, and it starts at 39. But apparently it can be even worse than that because he had the interception. So those guys, I think it will be very fun to see. And then up front, there's a lot of youth, right? You're talking about Alex Wright, your third-round pick. You're talking about Chase Winovich, who's still a young player on his rookie contract out of Michigan. In the middle, Perrion and Togiai and Elliott, all within their first 3 years here with the Cleveland Browns. Our first look at Taven Bryan in a game returning to Jacksonville. And, Jacob Phillips at linebacker, one of the young guys that you want to see. J.O.K. in his second year, There are a lot of compelling guys. Delpit, this is Delpit's second year. I know it's his third year, but it's really his second year. The strides he's made. It's going to be fun to watch this defense, I think, in particular. And you think about going against a Jacksonville offense that they're saying they're going to play their starters. So you're talking about Trevor Lawrence. You're talking about Travis Etienne, who this is his debut. This will be his NFL debut. And then they've got a Christian Kirk. They've got a Zay Jones. They've got a Marvin Jones, a Laviska Shenault. They bring in Evan Ingram. There are some weapons, some weapons there. They've got tackles that they like, a second-rounder. They just extended Cam Robinson. They draft a new center. So I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good test. I think this Jags team's a lot better than people realize. And it was funny, I was in my preparations. I was watching the Hall of Fame game, the TV broadcast, the whole way down on the flight. And Collinsworth the whole time you could tell he was salty. He's like, I kind of want to watch this Jags team. None of the guys that are playing today. I want to watch the guys, and he'd list off all the names. But he said, this could be a pretty interesting team and a fun team to watch.
If Trevor Lawrence is in year 2, 85% of what people thought he was when he was drafted, they got a shot to make a run. They do. They absolutely do.
Because I think that division's wide open. I think that division is absolutely wide open in terms of, the Tennessee Titans, the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, the Colts brought Matt Ryan. They feel good about that. The Titans have been hanging on, but how much longer does that formula work for them? No A.J. Brown anymore. Corey Davis is gone, left 2 years ago to go to the Jets.
Yeah.
What are they? They're going to lean on Derrick Henry, obviously, but what is that team? And I think the Jags are a fun, little, exciting team. And let's not forget, the Colts, all they had to do was come into Jacksonville and beat the Jags last week of the season to make the playoffs, and they lost.
They did.
They lost.
Yeah, that's facts. All right, the great Jim Donovan going to join us coming up next, second hour here on a Thursday. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, second out of the program, Elk and Elk Serious Injuries. Serious Lawyers. Call 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk and Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Show today from the Dog Bowl here in Berea at the CCMC, and, of course, from Gibby's palatial suite down in Jacksonville. We have the broadcast. I mean, is this a villa, Mr. Donovan, that I find you in?
It's the penthouse.
A villa on a very small stage, yes, yeah. But I would, of all the other rooms, Bo, I would say this might be a villa.
Yeah, certainly. This is great.
Yeah, really, yeah.
You guys can really spread out.
Suite they went into. It's the suite they went into in Hangover. That's really the word.
That's what I thought. Yeah, like Tyson's in there with the chicken and a tiger, like all that stuff's going on. The great voice of the Cleveland Browns, the great Jim Donovan, joining us here on the program here as we kick off the second hour preseason game tomorrow in Jacksonville. Jim, you get the news late yesterday afternoon from Kevin Stefanski that Deshaun Watson's going to play. Is he? As we sit here and wait on the NFL, it's just the most strangest situation we find ourselves in, my friend.
Yeah, and I think it's become cruel. I really do, Bo. I think it's become cruel. And I think it's cruel to the player, but even more so to the team, because you're really punishing the team now, and obviously to the fan base, and I include them into everything. But I really do believe we're at a point. I think in part of hearts they don't want to see him play, and so they make plans and to get him in action. He hasn't played since January 3rd. 2021, but that was in the 2020 season. That's the last time he played in a game. So naturally, and it's been great watching him in OTAs and in minicamp and certainly out in Berea in training camp. But now you want to get into the game, and now you've got another thing hanging over your head: is the decision going to come down, and it goes the wrong way for him and the Browns. Can he even go out on the field? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
You're in Jacksonville.
Is he allowed here? Right. I mean, I think it really has gone across the line now, and it's cruel.
And I was saying this earlier, Jim, on the show, and talked about this a little bit, but if the NFL knew that this is what was going to – why did they allow him to be traded? Again, I'll go back to everything that happened that has been alleged against him happened as a Texan. They were implicated, 30 civil suits that they've settled.
Right.
And yet none of the punishment happened. If he was not going to be allowed to play, why didn't they just do that while he was a Texan? Because they allowed every team in the NFL to trade for him once the grand juries didn't indict him. You had 13 teams that wanted him. He narrowed it down to 4. He chooses the Browns. So it's not like there isn't a big chunk of the league that was also interested. And it feels the only team that's going to be punished here in this are the Browns for doing something that the league said they could do, which was trade for Deshaun Watson.
Well, here's the other thing, too, and I think you're right about that. But, Bo and Nathan, the other thing is, if the deal had been done with Miami,
right,
would they have gone through the same procedure, timeline, extension of things?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think that would have happened. So this is incredible. And you know, I just wonder if there's only one agenda in this whole story, or are there other agendas? I mean, if you're ticked off about the contract they gave him, that's a completely different story, okay? Because they've warped the salary structure of that position. Okay. But if you're going to include it into this decision, then I think that's wrong.
It is wrong, and they haven't. Kyler Murray just signed one and didn't get a fully guaranteed contract, so it was kind of right back to business as usual. And we were talking on the bus. People were mad at the Jags that they gave Christian Kirk $17 million a year, and it made the wide receiver market crazy. But they're not, it feels like there is a lot at play. And again, I think what everybody just wants is a swift resolution, whatever it is at this point, because we know it's out of our hands, and it's going to be what the league ultimately wants, or at least that's how it feels.
Yeah.
There is a vindictiveness to this, though. To Jim's point, there's a vindictiveness to this. It does feel that way of the way that this is being strung along. Guys, and I agree with you, Nathan. You and I have talked about this all week long. This thing should have been – you should have known where you stood. Look, by the way, Goodell works for the owners. Every owner who was in a conversation with the Houston Texans on Deshaun Watson should have been privy to how the NFL thought it was going to look at this. You should have had that information in your hand before you made that deal. So that starts there. But even once acquired, there was no good reason that this process should not have been done. I mean, what was that, April on the grand juries, guys? March, April? I mean, it was in the spring when we knew about the grand juries coming back not to charge.
Yeah.
So that was in the spring.
It was early April.
He's been here since
My
the
God,
spring.
he's been here all spring. Like, any point, April 15th, then do the Sue L. Robinson thing. That allows for then an NFL appeal, which you knew was going to come. Yeah. That could have happened in May. The idea that we sit here on August 11th and nobody can move forward, I got to be honest with you, Jim, it's had a cloud over training camp because everything you talk about, it's there.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing, Bo, is this. I fear that no matter what happens here, and if he is gone for the entire season, and a lot of people are forecasting that, and I think Kevin Stefanski and his staff are amazing, and I think the Browns have a tremendous support system. But it's only human nature that I would think there would be a letdown to this roster and these players. And here's why. Because they have seen him out on the field, and knowing what they have, and then you put him into the fray there, they're saying, this is unbelievable. This is going to be amazing. And now he faces the distinct possibility that you're going to pluck him away from that. And human nature is what it is. I mean, it would be a major disappointment. And I think that's a hurdle that Kevin Stefanski soon may have to face. That, it's great to say that we're not going to skip a beat, and hopefully that's true with Jacoby Brissett and what they can do. But still, there's going to be that thing. But can you imagine what we would be if he was our quarterback? Because we saw it, as you mentioned, all spring, and now, 3 weeks into training camp.
And you talk to the guys on the team, and I'm not just talking about the offense, which love them. They got that great bonding trip down to the Bahamas. They know what it can be, and even talking to Joel Bitonio, the longest tenured Brown, they try not to think about it, but they know with Deshaun Watson, this is a team that can do anything that it wants.
Right.
The capabilities are all there, and this is not a knock on Jacoby Brissett. Is in a different class than most quarterbacks in the league, and then when you have a guy in that class, that's how you feel, especially when you have a great defense and the offensive line and Chubb and Hunt and Amari Cooper and on and on. Yeah. I think that you're right. That is a very difficult thing to deal with because it's not just offense. It's the defense, too. I've talked to a lot of those guys, and they are like, wow.
Well, don't you think that in Indianapolis, when Jacoby Brissett was there and a very, very capable backup, and all of a sudden, once we left there after when the Browns went against the Colts for a couple of days and then played the preseason game, and then this abrupt decision by Andrew Luck to retire, don't you think that affected the Colts a great deal?
Of course.
And I think at the outset, Jacoby Brissett did very, very well with them until he got nicked, right? He got hurt. But I just think that there's the thing that you cannot govern with all of the coaching and X's and O's, and that would be, the fact that it just human nature is what it is. People get disappointed.
The only thing that I think could perhaps, again, none of it would be a great outcome because we know how talented he is, but I do think there could be something to galvanize because the Browns are going to be written off.
Sure,
people are going to say this is what they deserved. They're irrelevant. There's a lot of talent here to be able to overcome that. I do think that will be galvanizing. They do respect Jacoby a great deal. It will be harder because in that situation, both of you said the word. It feels vindictive. It feels mean.
Yeah, it's cruel.
Andrew Luck retired. That was not something that was imposed upon this organization. This is something that will be imposed upon the Browns. And people will say, well, the Browns knew what they were getting into. I think the Browns felt very comfortable with what they were getting into in terms of what the discipline would be. Mm-hmm. It actually came out right along their thinking. Right. And now the NFL is saying, nope, sorry, Judge, not good enough. We're gonna do this our way. So I think there is something that could be galvanized. Look, this league doesn't even want us, for whatever reason, to have the success that we deserve to have this year.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, Jim, that I think is, and you guys know this, you're out here every day, like if you watch a practice, you would not, if you just watched the practice and didn't talk to anybody, there'd be very little to believe that Watson wasn't going to play all 17 games. So, that's the other thing that's going to be taken away, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's been treated as if he's playing week 1.
Yeah. Absolutely right, Bo. You're absolutely right, and you watch it, and you watch him grow in the offense, because this is new to him. They know the offense. He's learning the offense, but he's picking it up at a very, very rapid clip, and it looks good, and it gets better as the more you see it, and it's amazing that they have still been so committed to giving him as much time out on the practice field as he is getting. And then I know at some point they're going to have to adjust that, obviously. But, it looks good. It really looks good. And as far as the mood is concerned, you would never know that anything's wrong. You would never know that anything's wrong personally in his actions and the way he behaves on the field, what he does the connection he's trying to make to the fans. He signs autographs. He was over. I mean, the horrible storyline of when that appeal came down, last on the field, and he was over with all of the members of our military and signing autographs and taking selfies with them, pictures. You just would never know. I mean, to me, mentally, if I was going through that, I don't know if I could take a snap.
Here's the thing that's wild about it is, is he going to be rusty? To your point,
yeah,
he hadn't played in a year, and he's dealing with all of this. What I would have to imagine is significant mental and emotional turmoil,
right?
And you wouldn't know it, and you'll know this. The guy's mentally tough, right? Whenever he does get to play for the Cleveland Browns, that will not be in question because he certainly has been that at the Cross Country Mortgage campus.
Jim, we had the reporting from Mary Kay Cabot here in the last 10 minutes or so that the Browns would reach in and consider Jimmy Garoppolo if it's more than the 6 games, if it's the 10, the 12, or indefinite, that they would do that. Nathan and I have talked about that. Seems like a very natural thing to do next. He's very familiar with this style of offense. That kind of just connecting the dots, it does make sense, does it not?
Yeah, I think so, Bo. I really do. I think that would be the natural thing to do, and knowing how they are all over the landscape of the NFL with different personnel and different people in different position groups, obviously. I mean, he is sitting there. They know the situation in San Francisco. It's being chronicled daily, what they want to do, that his agent, Don Yee, can put together a deal, bring it back to the 49ers. The 49ers are willing to listen to all offers, but there will be a move made. Yeah, I definitely think it would have to be in play. It's a natural. This guy's played in big games, and he's won big games, and he's been very close to winning the biggest game. He is an overthrow away from winning the Super Bowl a couple of years ago in that game against Kansas City. He's a dropped interception away in the NFC Championship game last year against the Rams from going back to the Super Bowl. If Tart holds on to that pick, it's all over, and he's back there again. So, yeah, I think it's an obvious move, and it's a fit because of that window to winning is wide open here right now. It's wide open.
And you want to try to capitalize on that.
Because it can close quickly, right?
Of course, in the NFL, it always can. And I think, if you were to look at, let's say, worst case scenario that, okay, we have 1 year bridge of Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett, and then we know at that point that we get a franchise quarterback. Right. You don't feel so bad really about the entire situation. It's not ideal, obviously. Nobody wants to be dealing with it, but that makes you feel like, okay, we can still try and chase and accomplish the things that we set out to accomplish with a guy that, as you mentioned, has been to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship in his last 2 full seasons.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
In terms of for tomorrow, you guys making your debut, which is pretty exciting. You guys have called games together before, but now officially. So I mean, you're gonna have the world of the league a little bit on your paying attention to this one, let alone all of us. I mean, you got Lawrence playing, Travis Etienne making his debut for Jacksonville, potentially Deshaun Watson playing. It's a heck of a way to go about it. Jim, you've been talking to the youngster? You giving him some tips here for the first one?
He's going to do just fine. He did great in London in a pinch hit, in an emergency pinch hit situation. He Rajay Davis that one that day. He hit the home run that day in London, and he didn't even have a roof over him that day. We were out in the open. We were with the fans. We were with the fans that day.
No monitor.
No
booth.
No nothing. No statistician.
What stadium
no
is
spotter.
that?
Nothing like that. It was Tottenham, wasn't it? Tottenham
or Twickenham?
Twickenham. Yeah,
Twickenham.
Yeah,
wow.
It was actually their national rugby stadium.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But no, he's going to do great. I think that we had a great time doing it. And the last couple of years, Nathan's come up during the preseason and done a half with us, with Doug and myself, when we were finishing out the preseason. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think Gerard will do a great job down on the sideline. He's ready to go. And these are, these are the toughest games to do because you have to learn about so many players, and you're going to be dealing with the back half of the depth chart. And these are difficult games to do. So you end up really, if I had studied this hard, Bo, when I was in school, you'd be saying, it's good to have Dr. Jim Donovan on the show.
Yes, we have definitely put in the work. That's great. I love it.
This is great. Good talking to you, sir. Always great catching up with the great voice of the Cleveland Browns, Jim Donovan. Thank you, sir.
Hey, Bo, before I go, tradition is what it is. I wanted to tell you, update you. We took in 370 bales of hay on Saturday first and second cutting. We are loaded.
Wow.
We're ready to go. 370, and the guys came with these 2 huge trucks that were stacked unbelievably high. And they said, boy, you want to help out? And I went, son of a gun, I got to go to training camp. I would love to do it in this 100-degree weather, but I got to go.
Duty calls.
Duty calls, that's right.
Jim, I'm going to need to know the breakdown of that hay. Is that a grass hay? Do you have some alfalfa in there? What are we going with on that?
All right, so our first cutting is kind of more of a really bulk straw kind of. The second cutting is what you're talking about, some alfalfa mixed into that. So
okay.
it's more of the that's more of the dessert.
Yeah,
the
that's
other
the
one
candy.
Is your 3 basic meals. Yeah,
I like it.
That is the candy.
Oh, I like it. I was hesitant because you weren't actually on the Penderosa, so I didn't know, but nevertheless, Mr. Donovan always prepared. God bless you, sir.
Thanks.
The great Jim Donovan, the voice of your Cleveland Browns. So lucky to have him. Lots to get to. Still time to get your questions into Gibbe on the mailbag. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Always great talking to the great Jim Donovan. Still raining down there, Coach?
No.
Told you.
Well, yes. Yes, actually.
I can see it's lightened, though.
It's a light rain. Yes. No, we can see again. I mean, the buildings that are right next to us, skyscrapers,
everything's still standing,
invisible, are there. Yeah, everything's great. We're safe.
There was I was in several tropical storms during my time down there, and the rain that you were experiencing for like that 45 minutes, that goes on for like a day. That's how crazy.
I'd like to sit through one.
It's just
that doesn't feel good.
It was actually kind
of. Feel like that's a win.
The devastation was. It was hard to wrap your head around, and the helplessness of watching water rise and nowhere for you to put it. That isn't a whole lot of fun. But we did have. It was right at the height of the. You remember the GM when GMC bought the Hummer, the vehicle that the Army used, then that became a big deal. There was an H1, an H2, and an H3. Are you familiar with the Hummer as a vehicle?
Oh yes, yes.
Our station had an H3. No, H2. Was it an H2? H2 that was the Hurricane Hummer. And you'd drive down, the weather guy would like drive down to the coast like Jim Cantori and stand in it. And so I was the sports director, I didn't have anything to do, so I would go down sometimes with him to the front in the H2. And that was fun. I enjoyed that. Frightening, but fun.
I bet.
I want to do that.
I was going to say that sounds like sign me up.
Yeah, I'd be in for that.
What do you guys got on the slate tonight? Did you guys figure out what the team activity is going to be?
No. I think it's on go. I think it's happening as we speak.
It can't be that exciting.
Hopefully we'll get. It was a secret. I don't know.
No, I know, but
hopefully
we'll
find
considering
out.
Location,
we'll talk about it on the coach's show.
There's not a ton of intrigue.
Maybe there's more to Jacksonville than we know about, Bo.
No, there's
I would
less.
love to find out.
There's less.
I'm fairly
That's
confident.
One of the great lines in Seinfeld. Maybe there's more to Newman. No, there's less.
No.
Bishop, it really is. Going back to your statement yesterday, it is mind-blowing they put an NFL team in this town.
Gibby.
Well, by the way, what happened? How have we gotten this assignment 2 years in a row?
Crazy. I'll tell you something.
Remember when it used to be Tampa for us?
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah,
there was stuff
same.
to do in Tampa.
Stevie Janowski was very home in Tampa.
I love Tampa.
Big fan of Tampa. Tampa. The thing I'll say about Jacksonville is this is in 2022, guys. Can you imagine in like 1993 when they gave out those franchises, being in Jacksonville and being like, yeah, sold. I don't know what they were banking on. They must have been banking on just a bunch of population moving into there, or that they would pull from Orlando. But it's kind of a hike from Orlando, and it's not easy to get there. It's just, it's stupefying.
I mean, there were other options. There had to be other great options.
Well, at that time,
as opposed to this.
At that time, you were moving out of Los Angeles. Both teams were moving out of Los Angeles at that time. So you would have had the Los Angeles market. I'm trying to think who else would have been in the mix.
I mean, Carolina got the other one.
Carolina got the other one. So. Yeah. Nashville wasn't a market at that point. Nashville was not yet a market. That was later. No, it's wild. It really
they've been there for a long time. Like the Miracle,
the
Music City Miracle. That was all. I mean, that's Frank Wycheck. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, but that's
Eddie George played in Nashville,
didn't
he?
Yeah, he did. But they went to Nashville after the Jacksonville Jaguars were in Jacksonville.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
Jaguars' first year was '95, I believe.
Okay,
pretty sure. Yeah. So
was it Brunell right out of the gate? Brunell for them?
Yeah, they drafted him in the expansion.
I want to say for Carolina.
I think you have that right. They drafted them in the expansion draft, and I'm pretty sure Kerry Collins was the first pick of Carolina, the quarterback out of Penn State. He started relatively quickly there. I think you're right. They had Berline, but then they drafted Collins like pretty early in the same year that Jacksonville took Baselli, I believe. I think Baselli was the first ever pick of the Jaguars.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's
Berline
right.
had like a 4,000-yard season there, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be.
Completely make that
Could
up.
be.
I feel like he did.
Yeah, could be. But they both were pretty good pretty quick. Really. I mean, Jacksonville
especially Jacksonville.
Yeah, they were in the AFC Championship game. They boat raced Marino in his last game. They scored like 60 on him.
Yeah. Brunell and Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardell.
And because of
Fred
that,
Taylor,
they
MJD.
screwed the 99 Browns when the Browns came back.
Because they were too good?
Yeah, because we can't let expansion teams be that good that quickly. So they put a bunch of hurdles in the expansion draft.
You were able to protect a lot more guys, probably.
Yep. It was not favorable. Like the draft capital wasn't what those two teams had.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a disservice right from the get-go. And it was because of the success that Jacksonville and Carolina had.
There's a lot of different ways to go about it. Go ahead, Z.
I was going to say mean again.
Yeah.
The league mean to the Browns
mean again, yeah. There's different ways to go about it. Like in the NHL, the Vegas Raiders were basically put in a position to be great right away, and then they played for the Cup their first year. But the price for that, I want to say that the number they paid for the franchise, it's not $1 billion, but it's like that. It was such an exorbitant expansion fee that they were like, if you're going to pay this, then yeah, we're going to make it so we'll help you be competitive right away in a market that really matters to us. And that obviously they didn't. There was no thought to that with the Browns when the Browns came back to the league after being taken away by Art Modell. So that's where you stand on that. All right, it's a mailbag day, Gibbe.
It is. Any questions, not just football related. I feel like we could use some fun ones today.
This one feels like it's on Twitter, so it's real. Weimer saying Jacksonville beat out Baltimore as an expansion city in 1993. My God. That's unbelievable.
Who did? Wow.
He says they beat out Baltimore. So think of the sliding doors moment there. If that happens,
wow.
If the expansion team goes to Baltimore, then there's no place for Modell to take the Browns. And then is he forced to sell at that point? Or is he try to find another city? It complicates it for sure.
Wild. Yeah.
It really is.
I like those good what-ifs, little butterfly effects.
I like them. Yeah, there's a lot of those going around. All right, get your Ask CBD questions to Gibbe. It can literally be on anything, although we'll do some football too. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily 950, ESPN Cleveland. The Land on Demand now free in the palm of your hands during the entire month of August. ESPN Cleveland, the Bath Authority, giving fans free access to the Land on Demand. For all the news you don't want to miss, see us live in the brand new studios. Replay all your favorite shows commercial-free and on demand. Get all access to Tony Grossi's Browns analysis and more. Visit thelandonthemand.com or download the app today. The Land on Demand, remodeled by my good friends at the Bath Authority. Can I ask you guys a question before we do Ask CBD?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the Reds are playing in that Field of Dreams game, in the cornfield in Iowa.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's this is my hunch on that. That seems like a great idea, like to go there in theory, but once you get there, you realize it's just a baseball field in a field in the middle of Iowa.
I don't know.
What's around there? Like, what have they
It's
set
nothing.
up around
It's
it?
rural
Are there
Iowa.
some nice hotels?
It's outside of Dubuque. It's rural Iowa.
Yeah.
That and the term nice hotels do not go hand in hand.
This is a little teeny pushback. That field oasis that's outside of Indianapolis is kind of like in the middle of nowhere, and it's you could eat and have some hotels around.
Yeah,
there
they
for a
don't,
while,
but they don't have
training camp.
Like, define nice
Sure.
hotel.
Yeah, and you're outside of Indy. Like, you could stay at the J-Dub if you wanted, or the Conrad.
Sure.
Yeah, you're 20 minutes away.
Yeah, true.
I just have a hunch.
Yeah,
that,
I don't
like, in
know.
theory,
I think it'd be cool to be there.
I think it would be awesome.
I think it would be sweet, especially what if we all rented like a Winnebago, and we had a big old RV,
three of us?
like a Madden cruiser. We had like a Madden cruiser, and so we all had. It was like we're all set up.
Didn't we pitch
We're all
that
good.
at one point? We were going to do a world tour back when we had
Yes.
real juice, and we were going to go around and we could get things done, and we were going to go around and go to like every preseason
Australia
game.
is still waiting for us. They have rolled out 100 red carpets. Dabo's rolled out the red carpet. All of our fans
all of our
on
Australian
Twitter, they're all
people,
rolling
they'd
down
be
the
dying for. We'd
Yes.
have the time of our lives.
Yeah. They want us on their continent.
Yeah, that's
We'd
it.
like to be there.
We would.
Get on it.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe Field of Dreams just wasn't for me as much as it is for others. Like, Major League would be my baseball movie of choice. And I know they're very, very
100%.
different. I just am not a big Field of Dreams
100%.
guy. I think I've seen Field of Dreams maybe once and then another half time. Like, it's just not my
Correct.
cup of tea.
In
That could
honor
be
of the
it.
passing of Ray Liotta, perhaps you dial it back up again for a little Shoeless Joe.
I'd rather
Have
have
one
him
more catch.
watch him overact his way through Goodfellas if I'm going to watch
Same.
Liotta.
Dude, Frank Severo's gonna be pissed at you.
Yeah.
Severo might be. So honestly,
Actually, that'd be fantastic if you jumped into one of his live chats and dropped.
I
that-
did.
I drop that
made
hammer
contact.
on him.
Yeah. What was it like
no,
watching
don't do
Liotta overact his way through Goodfellas? I just think it was hard. It's hard not to. Like, you're alongside Pesci and De Niro, like, you're going to turn it up. But he's at an 11 for 2 hours.
His laughing is at a 20.
It's really is aggressive. Really is. All right, Gibby. Go ahead. Show's yours.
Little Twitter mailbag.
Yeah, let's do it.
Send us some questions at Browns_Daily using the hashtag AskCBD.
You're so good at that.
I try. Ty tweets at the show. Is there a veteran wide receiver the Browns try to bring in, knowing that no one is available that has a similar skill set that was just lost with Grant, or do they take the extra roster spot and bring in another defensive tackle, given the competition in the wide receiver running back room already? Good question, Ty.
Well,
a little wordy, but
start with the
good
defensive
question.
tackles. We still haven't seen Sheldon Day, so I think the Browns feel really good that they have 5 defensive tackles who can play in this league here already, and that's not a roster spot that they're going to go heavy on. Jakeem Grant's skill set from the wide receiver room, yes, he could make some explosive plays, but he was really here to be a returner. I think if they're going to add a wide receiver, it's going to be a veteran wide receiver of some import, like an Emmanuel Sanders, like a Deshaun Jackson, Will Fuller, somebody that they think could actually come in here and make big plays for this football team. I don't think there are guys out there that are just ace returners just lying around, but maybe that is something that they look into, but it just doesn't feel like that. You know, Jakeem Grant was special. Jakeem Grant would have been on his third team. He owns franchise records everywhere he's been. He was an All-Pro, Pro Bowler. He's returned a kick in 4 straight seasons, 6 total for his career. That just doesn't grow on trees, and that's not something that's that easy to do anymore in the NFL, by the way, which tells you just how darn good at it he is. So I think it's a loss. I do think that is a loss. It's not one that is insurmountable because it would be the status quo for the Browns, right? Would be the same level return game we had in 2020 when we were the best we've been in a long time. But it would have been nice to have a weapon that was unique in many ways to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, I think that the one of the real disconnects is sometimes the way that people view defensive tackle position versus the way that our front office views it. We're very comfortable with who we have at defensive tackle. I think that's exactly right. And yet I keep hearing, do we got to bring in? No, you're fine. You're safe, pal, at defensive tackle. I do think receiver's a different thing. I like your point earlier. I think it's the correct one. Now Felton's in the return game. He's on the roster. But again, I will say what I've been saying for a while now. I do think you need an NFL receiver to come in that room because the guys that you're going to be counting on some combination of Bell and Schwartz, and maybe both. And Schwartz just hasn't stayed healthy, and Bell's a rookie.
Both.
So I think you need them both. You have to count on both of them, and I think with the team that's this good, that's a decent gamble.
And the other guy we were excited about was Woods, and he's also a rookie. I mean,
yeah.
Donovan Peoples-Jones we're looking at as the other, big-time proven commodity in that room. He's played 2 years.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have 100 targets in the league.
No.
And I love DPJ, but that's not a comment about him. That's a comment to me about the rest of the room. Donovan Peoples-Jones has been great. 18.8 yards a catch, 11.6 yards a target for his career, but he's only played 2 years.
All right. Zach tweets at the show, at Browns_daily. When is Bo going to drop his brand new Browns merch? #AskCBD.
Now I'm responsible for merch? What is he asking? He wants me to create Browns merch?
When is Bo going to drop his new Browns merch? Is that the homage?
I mean, I wore it yesterday.
I don't know.
I wore one of the hoodies yesterday. I've given you
and by the way, Browns Daily Twitter lost its mind later on in the day because of that.
Yeah, I mean, I
guess
good.
Is that already out?
No, I don't think that.
No, I think he said it's coming out next week.
Like the 15th,
did you say August 15th?
I think it's August 15th.
Next week.
That's what I think they're asking.
They're just building some hype,
August 15th, I believe, is when those are dropping.
Nicholas Lucarelli, with today being a Field of Dreams day, what stadium is the NFL equivalent?
You guys have been to them all. It'd have to be Lambeau, wouldn't it?
I would think it's Lambeau.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I've been there. We've been there a couple times now. First game of the 2016 preseason with a Robert Griffin III's first game in a Browns uniform. And
Didn't the quarterback step out of the end zone for us there?
Let's do this. What's the second?
Was Cody? Yes, it was in Green Bay.
What is the second?
It was Cody.
What's the second Field of Dreams? Memory. Because it's Lambeau's the obvious one. What's number 2?
Yeah.
What's the number 2 Field of Dreams in the NFL that you guys have been to? Most of them have been redone. I mean, there aren't that many that have been around forever that are still standing in their way. Almost everybody's got a new stadium.
I've got an answer. Seattle. It's unique. It is an incredible environment.
It is. They throw Skittles at us.
They threw Skittles at me, but that was in the Legion. But I don't know if that stadium's still cool today with them not being great.
I think it probably is. I bet it is.
It probably is still cool.
Yeah.
I mean, we had our own Starbucks barista in the booth with us for the entire day, making us whatever we want.
Mile High would be another one, maybe.
The old Mile High, or the one that it is now, like the one they have now.
The Invesco.
The
one now is not bad.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
It's pretty cool when you're there. I mean,
it's funny.
It's a pretty cool field.
They all look, and you hate being always get off my lawn guy, but it did feel like that they all used to have such unique looks. Whether it was Texas Stadium with the hole, or whether it was Candlestick,
sure.
You could tell the way that the sun hit Candlestick. Like, you didn't even have to see any of the surroundings. You just knew that game was being played at Candlestick.
Yeah.
Like Soldier Field with the pillars had that very specific look to it.
The inside's so bad for the outside being so good. The other Field of Dreams should be Arrowhead.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's probably it, because it's the way it's always been. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool.
Yeah.
You're sunken into the ground.
That's a great pull.
Yeah.
JOK MVP tweets at us, have you ever put soap on a slip and slide and overshot the end by a mile? I did that for my kids. I didn't test it. I should have probably.
I did that.
My wife reminded me of that.
This was not Black Cobra, was maybe 6, and we had a bunch of his little buddies over. At the time, I had like a 150-foot slip and slide that I bought that went like all the way across the backyard, like down a hill. And so I put soap on the thing, and one of the poor kids, like, it got in his eyes, and I just will never forget. His name was Jacob. He just kept going, "Why? Why did you put soap on it? Why? Why would you put soap on it?" Because it burned his eye. I'm like, well, I was supposed to make it go faster, man.
Yeah, man.
So then I was like trying to get him goggles so that it would stay out, but at that point the damage was done. Poor Jacob. He's never been the same.
Sad.
Yeah.
Rub some dirt on it.
It was soap poisoning.
Lance tweets at the show, "What's the longest road trip you've ever taken?"
I mean, I drove from Billings, Montana to Tallahassee, Florida. That's a drive.
I've done less, I think, slightly less than that would be Denver to Atlanta.
Less, but not by a lot. And by a lot, I mean by about 800 miles. Probably 500
miles less, you think?
I think.
You think 500 miles less?
Well, Denver is 8 hours from where I left. Atlanta was 4 hours north and east of Tallahassee. So I think I would think 4 hours less, or 400 miles less. Maybe more. Actually, probably more like 300 miles less. Feels like less.
Hold on. Gosh, dang it.
You're not going to have any internet. You're taking all the internet you can to do this show.
All right, we've got 1,404 miles from Atlanta to Denver.
Oh, then it's well more.
Yeah, it took you 3 days to get out of Montana.
Yeah, I mean, you drive for a full day to get out of South Dakota.
Yeah.
Or that.
Yeah, I mean, you drive all day and you're not even out of. I was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota after a day.
2008, 600 miles more.
I
don't want to poo. I mean, you nailed that in incredibly impressive fashion.
My God, what did I say? 500 miles difference, and
500.
Yes.
Come on,
it was 600.
Ladies and gentlemen. Now that he's out of the car, let him hear it. Jeez.
Yeah, that's good.
Come on, what a geography whiz.
So that's 1 day, 6 hours versus basically a day, 24 hours or 22 hours. They said. And still 22 hours is a long road trip. I mean, I know you're poo-pooing me and you're.
I didn't poo-poo you.
But 22 hours still long.
And
no, I'm just saying
you're driving there because you've got to start a job. Like, you're driving with a purpose. Like, whereas like the road trip,
That's a good point.
That wasn't
it's
a road
a weekend.
Trip. There was a purpose.
I want to get. I want to.
So the longest I did
somewhere to.
The longest there would have been Billings, Montana to Las Vegas. Was the longest road trip.
Oh.
What's that? What's that run you?
I'm guessing my hunch is it's probably like 14 hours or something, maybe more.
Wow.
That was the longest. And the crazy thing was we were inspired by swingers. Well, the difference is the guys in, Trent and Mikey going to Vegas in swingers, like, that's L.A.
It's L.A.?
Yeah.
It's not across the American West.
All right, brother. Come on, Google.
All right.
14 hours, 47 minutes, and 939
Good Lord.
miles.
How good am I at this?
You guys should have had.
This is unbelievable.
You're tremendous at it.
So
you also should have your head examined. What kind of a decision was that? Let's drive 15 hours one direction?
I did the late news, the 10 o'clock news, and then we left after I did the 10 o'clock news and drove. So basically it's about this perspective of the West. Yeah. It's about as far to go from Billings, Montana to Las Vegas as it is to go from Denver to Atlanta. Is that what we're saying? That's close?
No.
You were 1,400 to Denver.
Another 800 8 hours.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. Another 400 miles. Okay, all right. So much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And training camp is underway. The Cleveland Browns 50-50 raffle is open now. Go to the Browns mobile app or browns5050.com to purchase your tickets. The raffle ends on Sunday, August 21st. Don't miss your chance to win big while supporting the Stay in the Game network and shoes and clothes for kids. We're back tomorrow on a game day edition. You stay safe, you crazy kids.
Let's go.
You've been listening to Cleveland Browns Daily.